Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. I'm Amanda Hill. You can certainly feel the change in the air today. Todd Guttner is in for Ryan with a first look at our forecast this noon. Hey, Todd.
Hi, Amanda. Good to see you. Good morning. I'm so used to saying good morning. Sorry, I apologize. Good afternoon. We're about to get into some serious heat this afternoon. We have heat advisories for sections of our state and almost the entire state of New Hampshire, the entire state of Vermont, too. As we get into the afternoon and the sun starts coming out and temperatures rise, you add humidity into that mix, and it's going to feel like 100 degrees in a few spots. So we've been down this road before. You know, stay in the air conditioning when you can, seek out shade. Water's good, especially if you're in it, obviously. Here the current temperature is actually not bad yet. We're around 80 in Bangor, 79 in Portland, 81 in Lewiston, even cooler up in the mountains. However, we've had a lot of cloud cover during the morning hours, and now we're about to clear. There was some decaying showers and thunderstorms that came over our state. The cloud debris kept the temperatures in check. Well, now the sun is breaking out, and we're going to see those temps soar as we go through the next few hours. The problem is we've got more storms stacked up in Canada ready to cross the border later this afternoon and early this evening. So as we jump to the timeline, yeah, our temperatures are going to be rising quickly through the 80s, and we'll get into the lower 90s in some spots. But here comes that line of storms crossing the border sometime between 3 and 5, and then working down through the foothills and into the Bangor area. It's looking like sometime around 6 o'clock or so. This line could include some gusty wind, downpours, lightning, hail too. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. After that, that line goes off the coast. We're not through. There's going to be enough energy in the atmosphere, it looks like, to see ongoing thunderstorms, not only through dark in the sunset hour, but all the way through about midnight before the threat wanes during the overnight hours and everything sort of clears out after that. But any of these storms could have a packing a punch with the wind, the hail, and a few of them might spin a little bit. And there is a tornado threat, a low one, but still a tornado threat for Maine is pretty unusual. So we'll have much more on the thunderstorms and the heat coming up in a few minutes. Amanda?
Todd, thank you. We'll see you in a bit. Now to our top story here. There are still a lot of questions and some conflicting statements as an investigation continues into the death of a man who was shot and killed by ICE agents in Biddeford yesterday. We begin with some new developments just into our newsroom. Senator Susan Collins says she spoke with the head of the Department of Homeland Security and urged him to stop all non-urgent vehicle stops. Multiple outlets are reporting that's happened, but ICE has not confirmed that. Juan Sebastian Guerrero was shot and killed at the intersection of Poole Street and Hill Street yesterday. According to Senator King's office, DHS told the senator that Guerrero was not the man ICE agents were looking for. The Department of Homeland Security released a statement last night saying ICE was conducting surveillance on, quote, an illegal alien with a final order of removal, end quote. The department said they were trying to conduct a traffic stop, but the vehicle tried to flee. The department says an ICE officer feared for public safety and fired his gun. Today, there are more calls for action by lawmakers and the community. We have team coverage of this story. We've got Christian Harsa, who is at the scene of a protest at the ICE facility in Scarborough, and Sam Olson, who is in Biddeford. We begin with Christian. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Amanda. We're currently on Manson-Libby Road in Scarborough, just outside of the ICE facility here. And there's a pretty sizable crowd that has gathered here. It's gone through movements of being more and less active here. There was some chanting going on, and now they've moved a little bit further down. Scarborough police are on scene. I'm counting at least five possibly officers. Some of them could be ICE officers on the ICE property here. But there's been a pretty sizable crowd that has gathered here. We have seen some counter-protesters, as at least one, causing a bit of a stir, is how I would describe it here. But this group has been talking about ICE, wanting to talk about defunding it, and they're angered by what happened yesterday. We've heard some people speak, including Representative Decca Delac of the area. I've also seen Dr. Nirav Shah. He is in the crowd somewhere. It is unclear if he plans to speak later. This road was originally open with just some folks blocking it off, but it has now been blocked off by Scarborough Police. They put up traffic barriers at the end, and Scarborough Police is on scene here with one police car on one end, and then some officers kind of near the other side of it. This crowd was said to be dispersing around 12:30, but they said that before they opted to block off the roads here with Scarborough PD. It is unclear how long they plan to be around here, but we did talk to one protester earlier about what his reaction was to yesterday's news.
I don't know how else to describe it. I'm just angry. And this is the second one in, 7 days?
I work for...
Not counting the two earlier this year in Minneapolis. This has to stop. And for the town of Scarborough to host a detention center, I thought better of Scarborough than what I see here. When are the town officials, the city officials, going to stand up and throw them out?
Here on the scene, though, it has been largely peaceful with some tussling between, I would say, between that counter-protester and some of the other ones. But overall, it has remained peaceful here in Scarborough. They are currently formed in a circle behind. If you're able to see, they've kind of gathered over there. We have not made it over there quite yet to see what they're doing over there, but they've just been chanting, singing thus far. So here. Amanda, I'm going to toss it back to you so we can hear more from Sam in Biddeford.
All right, Christian Harsa live for us in Scarborough there. Thank you, Christian. Of course, as he mentioned, there have been crowds in Biddeford as well today. That's the scene of where things happened yesterday. Sam Olson is at the intersection and joins us live with more on that. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Amanda. There has been a steady flow of people coming to this corner to pay their respects to Juan Sebastian Guerrero. People are coming to lay flowers, there are candles lit, and there are also signs. One reads, "We are better than this." Earlier this morning, we spoke to the owners of the pawn shop and laundromat right across the street, and they say they saw Guerrero with his young daughter very often as he lives in the building next door. We also talked with a man this morning who says he heard the gunshots, thinking they were fireworks. Take a listen.
Well, at one point, I heard the ICE agent say, "Calm down, calm down, calm down." I believe that's what he said. And I thought, I'm positive I heard the guy say, "I tried to stop." And it was pretty loud. And then that was it. Then the only thing I could see, because I was in the doorway, like sticking my head out, maybe 1 foot on the sidewalk. And I just saw his legs and his feet and his stomach. And at one point I saw his stomach stop moving.
And in our next half hour at 12:30, we will have more from the owners of this pawn shop, and we will show you the video that they gave to us that shows the shooting unfold. Amanda, back to you.
Sam Olson live for us in Biddeford. Thank you, Sam. Meanwhile, Democrats looking to replace Graham Plattner as the U.S. Senate nominee are lashing out at ICE over yesterday's fatal shooting. And now incumbent Republican Senator Susan Collins. This morning, Dr. Nirav Shah spoke to reporters outside of the senator's Biddeford office. Shah criticized Collins, who chairs the Senate Appropriations Committee, for shepherding the annual Homeland Security funding bill through Congress and for supporting a second bill that funds ICE and Customs and Border Protection with another $70 billion through the end of President Trump's term in 2029.
There's a saying in science and in healthcare: what's predictable is preventable. And when you give an agency tens of billions of dollars without rules, without transparency, with zero consequences, yesterday's tragedy is exactly what you get. Senator Collins has funded the abuses, she has confirmed the leaders, and she has refused to make them answer for anything and failed to impose safeguards.
Now, in response to that, a Collins spokesperson told us, quote, "In April, new protections Senator Collins negotiated in the DHS funding process became law. This includes $20 million for expanded use of body-worn cameras, $2 million for de-escalation training, and $20 million for increased oversight of detention facilities. Senator Collins proposed these accountability measures to make both law enforcement and those they interact with safer," end quote. Both of Maine's U.S. senators are sharing what they know about the investigation into yesterday's shooting. Senator Collins says that the Boston office of the DHS Inspector General has taken over the investigation. She says the shooting requires a full and impartial investigation. And Senator Angus King says federal investigators should be able to share information with local law enforcement.
I think the community has every right to ask questions and to bring pressure to bear on the federal government for straight answers and honest answers. And if there are whatever evidence there is, should be made public and should be made public soon. And I think the role of the community is to express concern.
Meanwhile, Governor Janet Mills says the claim that Guerrero was not ICE's intended target, quote, makes this tragedy even more disturbing and infuriating, end quote. Again, ICE has not confirmed that. That's what Senator King said the DHS secretary told him. Mills is also calling for an end to immigration enforcement operations nationwide, saying this incident highlights that they are reckless and haphazard.